For more on these talks, we're joined by Tony Shaffer. He's a senior fellow at the London Center for Policy Research and a retired lieutenant colonel in the United States military. I want to thank you so much for coming in. There were talks which collapsed last summer, and this all happened right around the announcement that Mullah Muhammad Omar had died. What do you think is the genesis of this? Is it the fact that now things are kind of settled in terms of, or not one could say that, but...
I think there's two factors which are really getting people to be motivated to do something. First, ISIS. ISIS has moved into the region, and it's no small issue. They now control six provinces of Afghanistan. And ISIS, like they've done in other countries, they're going for the profit centers. They're going for Marja, they're going for the drug trade, they're going for the old smugglers' routes, and more importantly to China. They're going to be the ones who try to basically take over the access to some of the copper mines China now has. So I think a lot of folks recognize that this is an existential threat to the region. Secondly, I think a lot of folks have recognized that it's just time to really push the reconciliation process. I think we've known from the beginning of the Afghan constitution, the Taliban's been on the outside of it, so that if you're outside of it, you're naturally going to attack it. So there's got to be a pathway. I can compare it to the Northern Ireland peace process. You've really got to be committed to that, but Pakistan's the key. Like in Northern Ireland, it took the Irish Republic saying, we will not support the IRA doing attacks any longer in Northern Ireland. Pakistan has to do the same thing. They've got to step back and say, we will no longer support the Taliban conducting terrorist acts and allow them to begin to enter the political process.
Are they taking enough steps to kind of make people feel like they're on board?
It's a difficult political equation. The Pakistanis, not all, but some feel that in Afghanistan and chaos is a part of their layered defense. Their biggest threat, Pakistan, is India. And the Indians have grown up and moved on. Pakistan continues to not grow up. So I think they see an unstable Afghanistan essentially as a layer in their defense. Others, more enlightened, recognize that a stable, prosperous Afghanistan is the best thing for regional security, especially in light of the ISIS threat. But it's a mixed bag.
China is involved.
Absolutely.
Talked about their role in the talks.
China has invested greatly in the infrastructure in Afghanistan. They've got 2 copper mines. There's been other things they've been doing there. China's been very cooperative as part of the stabilization of Afghanistan. It's been a good news story. With that said, I think they, as much as any other country who has invested resources in the region, recognize that if the United States leaves, other things become chaotic, all of their investments, as well as the investments of the United States in blood and treasure, really goes away. It becomes more like Iraq. And we've seen what happened in Iraq once we left Iraq.
We've seen the U.S. and China at odds on certain issues.
Absolutely.
But again, the six-party talks may be rejiggered. We saw it with Iran, the nuclear deal. Here they are coming together again. So talk to me about this formulation, this U.S.-China relationship. It's very complicated.
I'd like to believe that at least Afghanistan, enlightened self-interest, will win the day. Look, there's huge issues regarding China and cyber in the United States. There's huge issues regarding North Korea. A lot of folks believe that while China has not necessarily supported the North Koreans, they've enabled the North Koreans to continue the path that they're on. So I think it's a mixed bag. With that said, I think Afghanistan, the equities are very clear that the Chinese and their investments, the United States and our investments are very much interlocked. And I think that's what we're hoping for here, is that they work with the Pakistanis to move the process forward.
The new Taliban leader, what do we know about him and how influential is he in these talks?
Well, that's TBD. I think that the Taliban is not a single entity. People tend to forget it's a tapestry of organizations. The Haqqani network really in many ways is Taliban in name only. They are much a criminal network created for purposes of supporting the Pakistani government. So I'm reluctant to ever say a Taliban leader can speak for all of the Taliban. So I'm not sure how effective this guy is going to be. I think he's going to have to prove he can be the spokesman for the Taliban, and I'm not convinced at this point.
One of the former Taliban leaders, though, said that there just wasn't an appetite before. There is one now, and I suspect ISIL is the key component.
ISIL is kicking their butt, and it's a big issue because I think the Taliban recognize if they don't find a path to reconciliation, they will be subsumed and eaten alive by ISIS, just like Al-Qaeda in many other places have been eaten alive by ISIS.
Tony Shaffer, thanks so much.
Right, thank you.